my God, you would not believe how many times it's taken me to record this video. This is like take 10 or something. Anyway, we're at the end of week 9 of taking 150 milligrams of sertraline to treat PPPD, MDDS and CPTSD. Not much change this week, if I'm honest, but I don't really have any expectations with this. I'm just waiting until I get to the point where I think, okay, now I'm ready to do X, Y, Z. And as I said to you last week, I'm ready to do the physiotherapy. I'm finding it very difficult because I'm not doing it with a practitioner or a therapist. The only person that I have that can help talk me down out of going too high on the panic scale is Claire Weeks. And Claire Weeks is just an amazing person who passed away in the 1990s. She was a pioneer in anxiety treatment. And her methods, strangely, even though she's quite famous around the world and released many, many books which still sell to this day, people that I know that have gone into counselling practice have never been taught her method. And I think the reason for that is that they wouldn't make any money if they were taught it, because her method is so simple, and it is exactly the same as if anybody knows about the DARE app or the Steady Coach's approach or Dan Buclio's approach to this, it's all the same thing. So if I'm encouraging you to do this, it's not to confuse you and say, oh, I'm trying something completely different. I'm not. It's just that her ways of speaking to me really resonate because she's kind of grandmotherly. And I had a very close relationship with my grandmother, and I still feel connected to her. And it's a weird thing. It's like my grandmother is talking to me, and it's very soothing for me. So I find her to be the most helpful therapist because of that. So I just want to play you an excerpt as I'm actually sat now on my meditation cushion. I've been sat here, as I said to you, I tried to do many takes of this video. For some reason just kept fluffing up my words. And then my cat came in and, but I'm sat on my meditation cushion and I've been sat here for probably 20 minutes now. So I'm feeling quite wobbly and I kind of need soothing. So I wanted to share with you what I have playing when I'm doing my physio, and in the hope that maybe you will find benefit from it and maybe look at getting her books on Audible. They're so simple to understand. It's just a comforting. If you want somebody to hold your hand, like a grandmother figure, to hold your hand and guide you through recovery and to stop being afraid, this is the woman to do it. I'm telling you now, she is incredible. And wow, what a legacy to leave behind, guys, anyway, amazing. So this is an excerpt from Hope and Help for Your Nerves, which is a book that's released, as I said, on Audible or in paperback. I'm sure that her publishing company won't mind me, won't object to, for copyright reasons, me sharing just an excerpt of it as it's helping other people, and that's what I'm sure Claire Weeks would want. I will link in the description to buy it through Audible and on Amazon as well. I'm sat here on the meditation cushion. I've got a candle lit by my fireplace in my studio. My incense is on. A bit of a hippie, aren't I? Got my crystals. And yeah, I could really do with some soothing words right now. So I'm just going to sit with you and we're going to listen just quickly to an excerpt from Claire. Okay, just listen to this.
Stop struggling. When you struggle against the feelings, the symptoms, or struggle to avoid them, you become more tense, more fatigued, more sensitized, and so more nervously ill. So stop struggling. Give up the struggle. But it's not easy to stop struggling and go forward into the fire that the symptoms bring. It's not easy to work with a fire burning. It's not easy when a body may feel as if it's vibrating, shaking, stomach churning, limbs aching, heart pounding, sight blurred, head swimming. I'm making it sound terrible, aren't I? And thoughts perpetually reverting to oneself, one's illness. It's not easy when the mind feels as if it's drawn out into a frail thread that will snap at the slightest extra strain. A mother loved her daughter dearly, but dreaded her coming home at weekends because she shrank from the thought of having to take the extra strain at the daughter's critical gaze as she asked, hopefully, "Aren't you any better, Mother?" That's not easy to take, but it is possible. Recently, a woman telephoned to say that that morning had been especially rough for her, that she'd come through it by saying to herself, "I'll be talking to Dr. Weeks in a couple of hours. I'll have some peace then, and perhaps for a little while afterwards." The thought of peace to come sustained her. But while she lived for those peaceful moments, she'd make very little progress. I explained that true lasting peace did not lie in the moments of relief from suffering. These were only respites, intermissions. Real peace lay deep within her, in her attitude at the time when she was feeling the dreaded sensations at their fiercest. That was the moment when she had to find real lasting peace through acceptance of the symptoms, through stopping struggling, by being willing to work with the feelings there. She thought for a while, and then she said, "You mean I have to find the eye of the hurricane?" She had the right message at last. Sailors say that at the centre of a hurricane there's a place of peace, which they call the eye. The storm swirls around it, but can't touch it. Of course, to find it, the ship must first go through the storm. If that woman would work as willingly as possible, with a hurricane raging, she'd find the eye of the storm within herself, and she would have found real peace, even though the symptoms were present. She would have found real peace without having to wait for the doctor's substitute. True peace lies not in the absence of symptoms, but in their midst. And it's not until you've found this peace that you'll eventually find the other peace, the peace that comes when the symptoms have finally gone. Next day, the woman reported that while feeling, in her words, ghastly, she'd sat at her work, she was a painter, and worked for 2 hours. And for the first time in years, was able to almost lose herself in the work while the hurricane raged. And somehow the hurricane didn't seem so important. It takes courage to go into the storm. It's more usual to think, "I must hold on to myself. If I don't, the symptoms will get worse." But that woman had been holding on to herself for years without finding relief. Isn't it time she tried letting go? Tried going into the storm willingly? Well, as willingly as she could manage. I want you to practice willingness now, to actually try to feel yourself stopping struggling. In other words, to feel acceptance. Take a deep breath, let it out slowly, let your tummy muscles sag, give way, and try to get a feeling of willingness to accept in the pit of your stomach. However faint the feeling, try to feel it. Now stop listening to me and try now. Did you feel a tiny feeling stir? If you did, you felt the birth of recovery. When you first learn how to accept, you've taken the trowel and laid the foundation stone. Continued acceptance finishes the job. At first, you must be prepared for peace to come haltingly, in patches. You may feel gloriously peaceful one day and in turmoil the next. In the peaceful moments, you may think, "I'm cured." But let some new stress
Like
come,
you, Yvonne.
and your nerves at this stage will continue to register stress too intensely. It takes time for sensitization to heal. Understand this, and never be discouraged by patchy recovery in the early stages. Time, more time, is always the answer, and give it willingly.
Got to be willing to do that.
I stress once more, as I do in my books and recordings, the importance of memory in hindering recovery. A few years ago, we had our cat neutered. He was a bit old for the operation, but he was killing himself with his fighting at night. And when we brought him home from the vet's and opened his basket, Sonny tore down the path and up to the back garden and hid himself there for 3 days. If one of us approached, he dashed off into the bushes. I suspect he had neither ate nor drank during that time. Finally, he crept slowly down the path and let us stroke him gently. He accepted a drink. But while being stroked, he arched his back and trembled so violently that the stroking obviously upset him. I suspect that he was sensitized. However, in a few days, he was chasing the birds as if nothing had happened. Now, had that cat dwelt on how he felt, had he thought of the terrible time I've had, I wonder if I'll ever be myself again, I wonder if I'll ever really get over this, I doubt if he would have recovered so quickly. Can you see how important it is for you to stop asking yourself such questions? To stop looking back and wondering if this, if that, if the other? If in future you begin questioning yourself about your illness, think of our cat Sunny and come down from the garden. You now have a key to understanding owned by few. Suffering like yours in many ways is a privilege. We learn by contrast. Until we've known turmoil, we never know the true meaning of peace. And goodness knows you've known turmoil. Later, when you read words like these, music, the gentler on the spirit lies than tired eyelids upon tired eyes, they'll mean something more to you than just beauty, because you know how tired eyes can really be. Never begrudge what you've been through. Starting from now, this very moment, not tomorrow, now try your best to accept it all. Stop struggling, don't fight anything. I promise that when you do this, you'll gradually be your old self again, perhaps a better self, at least a more understanding self. Good luck.
Isn't that lovely? Now that's just the end of the first chapter of her book, Freedom from Nervous Suffering. She's written 2 books. There's one, Hope and Help for Your Nerves, as well, which I was using to help me walk again. Because people asked me before, why do you say you have PPPD then MDDS? Because I had PPPD to begin with and it changed. I taught myself how to walk again because of her. Actually, once I understood from the steady coach, I went to the steady coach to get the knowledge about what was happening to me from an audiology point of view. I had medical clearance from an audiologist in London, or an explanation of what had caused the triple PD and the nervous system dysregulation. And then I used Dan Buglio as a daily sort of morning G up when I need it. Don't recommend looking every day at PPPD stuff. And actually, I said to a couple of my followers that have been speaking to me, just unsubscribe from my channel, because, you know, I don't want, if you're feeling good, I don't want a notification to come up that I've done a video and then you watch it and it reminds you of PPPD. That's not what I'm doing this for. I'm just trying to signpost you to the right people and show you that I'm going through the same as you. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it for anything else. So, and Claire Weeks is really the person that got me walking again. She actually did a whole video about going out the house, going into a shop, how to deal with that. And she's just brilliant. She's just absolutely brilliant. And I love her to pieces. So she is like my grandma, just talking to me, which is really encouraging. So I'm going to leave that there with you. I hope you enjoyed that. And I do hope that you'll have a look at her work. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. I'm going to carry on with my physio and Claire Weeks over the coming weeks and see how I get on. But I'll see you next Sunday. Love you and leave you.